this great or what?
Yeah, it's not great, Hey, how'd you find this place anyway?
Got lost at sea when I was a little kid. It was days before my father found me. But lucky for me, I washed up here during Spanakopita!
Hey, Spanakopita!
Spanakopita!
You know, I looked online last night. I couldn't find anything about this place.
Oh, yeah, that's because they don't have internet on the island.
Well, wait, no internet?
This keeps getting better and better.
It would be good to get back to nature for a while.
Billy, you practically turned feral the last time a cable went out.
That was your runway finale.
Hi! Welcome to Venture Brothers podcast. With me, your host, as always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Nick Friedemann and Matt Dykes. I'm not even doing nicknames this week because I am so tired of recording in this episode.
Yeah,
How
me
dare
too.
you?
I love the contrasting things. And they're like, yeah, me too. And Nick's like, how dare you?
Well, Nick looks forward to his nicknames, which I appreciate, but, you know. My God.
I understand it.
I needed to give myself a little bit of a break. So if you tuned in, not last week, which I hope you did tune in last week, where you got an episode of Samwise, one of the other shows on the ATH network. It was fantastic. I was looking at the numbers. Quite a few of you downloaded it. Some of you skipped it, which I understand. If you showed up for Venture Brothers, that is not Venture Brothers. But I do highly recommend it, and you should give it a shot. But if you listened to the week before that, which I'm assuming you did, you heard my very upset, because I edited it that night, of this episode is fucking jinxed, and every time we try to record it, somebody's computer crashes. So we're hoping that this time we can actually just talk about Spanakopita without any technical difficulties. But I guess we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, this whole conversation might just be for the three of us, but let's hope not.
For the three of us for the third time.
Kind of the second and a half time. The first time we tried it, Nick's computer crashed halfway through
true.
the episode. So
No, it was worse than that. The power in my building was just flickering on and off.
That's right.
For no reason.
That's right.
And then last week, the last time even, we got all the way through the episode, and then what
mine
happened,
died.
Bryan?
Power died, and then I was able to okay, so I just need to switch out power supplies, because that's happened, I don't even know how many times to my specific computer, but this time, it crashed the whole fucking thing. It's okay. It's all okay.
And this time my laptop's just going to explode.
I mean, if that's the case, then you know what? I'm quitting the whole show. God damn it.
Just feel a little warm, actually.
I mean, here's the thing. Spanakopita! I mean...
Spanakopita!
Spanakopita.
Nick being the Pete White.
So I will apologize up front in this very long intro for basically... We're going to do the best we can, but we have talked ad nausea about this episode. You just haven't heard it. So we will try to be professional. We will try to have the most fun conversation we can. But we are coming at this one with a just tinge of animosity of like, why won't this episode work?
I feel like we're coming at it like Pete White in Grease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to like this episode. Now...
But now, before we started recording, I told both of these wonderful gentlemen to follow my lead, and this is where I was going with that. The part of the thing I want to do is slightly different about Spanakopita, because it's the only thing we've ever done this with, and it was entirely by accident. It's an interesting experiment to rewatch the same episode this many times, and see, like, when we first started these episodes, if we could go back, which we can't, I think the first episode, we were all kind of pretty positive on it. Nick was probably the least, but even so, he was pretty fair on it. And then the second time, I liked it, and I was more at where Nick was on the first time, and now I kind of don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And is it... Do you guys think it's because it has, ties to the emotional trauma that we've been through with computers crashing? Or is it just that it doesn't work that well, and the more you look at it with a finer and finer magnifying glass, it's like, this isn't that great of an episode.
I wonder if it's because you're watching it so many times in such quick succession that it's like, okay, I get it. Spanakopita, woo, all that stuff, and it's like there is just some bits of it where it's just like you're looking at it thinking, well, it's just like a load of these random games. Well, yes, it's quite funny, but there's not really much of a story there.
No, and I think that's you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. That's kind of what bothers me the most about it. Is like it feels like it could be a great, like escapism episode for Rusty. Like it feels like that's what it's supposed to be, but it gets so bogged down with the
St. Cloud,
St. Cloud, and Billy and Pete and PY that it's like, what is this? What are we watching?
Yeah, it's Rusty's episode, but he's a guest star in his own episode.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird, because there are things that I do like about it, but that is a major sticking point.
Well, it's funny because, like, the stuff that I don't like about the episode, I ended up liking less and less. But the Rusty parts, I ended up liking more because him being a guest star in his own episode is kind of what he's going through in this episode. Like, it kind of, they feed each other hand in a weird way. Because his whole thing is that he wants this to be his escape, and yet it just isn't for a lot of different reasons. And I think that a big part of that is he just doesn't get a chance to actually have the vacation that he wants. And I'm okay with that part. That part I actually think worked on the third viewing. St. Cloud to me is, I think, like the biggest offender. Because if it was just Rusty, Pete, and Billy, I think that works. But I think that adding that fourth leg of St. Cloud is what really kind of drags this episode down.
I totally agree, because I think the more I've watched it, the more I've like... I always enjoy Rusty kind of getting shit on, and him being a guest star in his own episode is very much in line with shitting on Rusty.
Yes.
But I totally agree. Like, it's a solid episode. Not solid, but it's an interesting episode with Rusty, and I feel like they could have just made a story around him. But you're right on the money. The more St. Cloud, the more I'm like, what is the point of all this?
Right.
It's kind of like they wanted conflict in the episode, and St. Cloud was like the only thing they could think of. And if, like, okay, yeah, episode, like, the old storytelling thing, there has to be conflict there because that's what drives the story forward. But if you're going to have, like, conflict that's going to sort of pull away from, like, what is essentially the main character, St. Cloud is the best you can do. Like, St. Cloud in this one.
What's weird is that they already have conflict, but they just don't do a good job with it, which is the Sergeant Hatred trying to figure out what is putting him into a weird place in this island. Like, him trying to figure out the mystery of the island is a better set of conflicts than St. Cloud.
Yeah, I agree completely, actually. Like, the most interesting part of that, of the whole episode for me, is the Sergeant Hatred stuff. You know, like where he's going around, he's investigating and things like that. I mean, like, you know, one of the best moments in the episode, I think, is when he rings Brok on the thing, and you know, he's talking to him, and like Brok's immediately just like, "Let it go, man, let it go." And then there's that great bit with the all the women going, "Brok, Brok, Brok." He's like,
yeah.
What's that, General?
No,
Gotta
Brok.
go.
Yes, General, I'm coming right away. Brok's such a dick.
But we like him.
Yeah,
It's true.
He's a likable dick. Unlike,
but I agree.
Pete White,
I
who's just
love.
a dick.
Yeah, I think all that stuff is a great episode. I think there's a lot of stuff to work with, and it could have been a lot of fun. I don't think that takes away from what works in the episode. Like, I really like going back and enjoying just like the little stuff with what's his name, Jonas, like all the Jonas stuff.
Yeah,
I like seeing all that. I like seeing the Monarch's parents on the boat with Jonas. It's like, oh, I like seeing these little nods and like these little hidden things. Like, that's always a lot of fun. But
Exactly.
it's all just kind of shrouded in the rest of this episode. That's just, I mean, at its worst, it's fine, which I can't be too upset about. But it's still just like, I don't know. There's something weird about it where, like, I think there's something definitely with the watching it this many times. Like, under a magnifying glass, it just really falls apart.
Totally.
Do you think it was maybe like ideas they had for 2, maybe 3 different episodes which didn't work or didn't get enough time, so they tried to sort of stitch it together into one episode, maybe? Because you've got the Jonas stuff, which in itself, like, you know, you could make an entire episode out of that, really. Like a
yeah.
flashback episode, and that would have been really good. And then you've got the Pete White, the Billy.
Sorry, hang on. I had an alarm set. Can you go back like 30 seconds?
I'll try.
Sorry.
I can't remember what I was saying.
Completely silence my phone. That's what I was trying to do earlier. Now I remember. Oh yeah, I have to turn off my timer.
Right, I'll go back to. Just lost my train of thought as well.
I'm sorry. That's
No,
my
it's
fault.
all right. It's okay. So yeah, I don't know if you've ever edit this. So it's like it's 3 sort of episodes, three different episodes that weren't like 3. Fucking hell. You can cut that out.
It's okay. No, it's my fault entirely. What I think you're trying to say though, and I don't disagree, is that it feels like a oh my god, this fucking alarm.
I'm glad I didn't start off again because I
Great
this
idea.
fucking episode.
It's so goddamn jinxed.
Throw your phone
Alright.
out the window.
Phone is 100% muted now. I didn't realize I didn't have the media muted, so the alarm still counted as media. Fucking hell. I think I'm just going to leave all that in.
Is this going to be at the end of like a blooper reel or something like that?
I'm cutting this episode tonight. I might just leave all of that monstrosity in. Who knows?
Well, it really does illustrate the point, so... I think that people will believe us, because this is honestly the best disaster that's happened to this episode.
Yeah. At least it's still going. I mean, you know.
Mother of God. Yeah, I'm still recording.
I'm just going to
Anyhow, I'll get to my counterpoint to what you were saying. Yes, I agree. It feels like a grab bag episode. But no, because when they were writing season 4 and they thought they were done making the show, it was spitballing this episode that got them to push for a season 5.
Which is crazy because it's not. There's not a lot there.
No, I think it was just the idea of having Rusty be forgotten on an island and having that island feel so bad for him because his dad is such an asshole that they threw him a party, and it was Spanakopita, named after a pastry, and games, I guess. And I think just running with that idea is what made them think like, oh, that could be a lot of fun. And then as they started fleshing it out and they knew they wanted to make St. Cloud more of a thing, they're like, okay, well, we're going to put St. Cloud in it, and we're going to make him a big part. And then they started writing all of that, and then they had to try to retcon things in later episodes, and they had to try to fix line of dialogues. And this one, which just felt weird, like the whole, the trivia thing, like, don't ever try to come at me with trivia, quiz boy. It's like, I already have, and I won, because that happened earlier this season. But they wrote this episode first. So, like, I think as much as I love season 5, and as much as I even like this episode, I think showcases the majority of the problems throughout the season, for better or worse.
Yeah,
totally. Because what's interesting is the most interesting part of this episode, I think that all of us like, is the stuff that's the flashback bits and the mystery surrounding kind of like why Rusty likes this place / why they like him. You know, because most of Rusty's existence is people disliking Rusty.
Yeah,
it's just his thing. And what's really crazy is that they decide, like, oh, we want to make St. Cloud more of a thing. Let's pigeonhole him in. So my guess is that if we read what the first draft of this would be without St. Cloud, I bet it would be a stronger episode. It might not tie into the overarching season 5 arc, but it might be a stronger episode just as like a weird anti-monster of the week episode.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, you might be right. Because, I mean, like, the thing that I wanted to get back to is, like, the stuff in the episode that does work. Because there are moments that are funny. And I think the one that works the best for me, and this is where I don't know if it came out of rewrites or not, or if St. Cloud was always part of it, but the whole Greek myth dream sequence, even on my third watch, still makes me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All of it.
That's the best sequence I think it's the best sequence in the whole of season 5, maybe, just because of how different it is. You know, you might be right. Using the old, like, the stop motion animation tricks of, you know, the old, really old, like, you know, the old Clash of the Titans stuff. Like, you look at, was it Ray Harryhausen or something like that, who used to do all the stop motion animation stuff, like the
That sounds
skeletons
right.
and stuff like that. It just made me think of those old films, right? And the idea he's on a Greek island and things like that, and yeah, and then you just got the ice on the cake of St. Cloud, just like really lazy. Rawr.
Right.
Rawr.
So here's a question I have. Do you think that sequence, let's just say we cut St. Cloud out of this episode, add more stuff so it fits the runtime, blah, blah. Do you think that sequence still works with St. Cloud not in the episode?
It kind of could do, because it is Billy having the dream. You'd have to change some of the dialogue, but it could be St. Cloud could be the thing that's attacking him or whatever, that's like his fear. You know, you could have a thing at the beginning of the episode where he wants to go because he wants to get away from St. Cloud, and then he has that dream where, so even while he's out there, St. Cloud's sort of invading his vacation anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it would work, but I think that's why I keep going back to I think he was always a part of the episode. I don't think he was shoehorned in.
Interesting.
Maybe. I kind of hope I'm wrong, because that would make me like the episode a little bit better. But, like, right now, it's like, I don't think so, because it feels like this was the plan. And it's unfortunate, because everything we're saying is true. Like, I'd much rather watch a Shutter Island-esque comedy episode about Sergeant Hatred going, "Where am I?" Like, that sounds funnier to me. But I think this is what the story they wanted to tell. And for that idea, I guess it's fine. It's just...
I think that what it is, so I keep thinking about this quote from Henry Rollins where he's like, it is possible to have too much of a good thing, way too much of a mediocre thing, and diabolically too much of a shitty thing. And I feel like to a certain extent we've just drifted into, watching this 3 times under this microscope, we've drifted into the diabolically too much, to where it's like, St. Cloud might be better in these small doses, but now watching it 3 times and having 3 doses of St. Cloud just might be the part where we're like, I think I'm done.
Oh,
like,
my.
I don't think that I want him anymore at all. And I was already on the fence.
That sounds like Lethal Injection or something. I sense you just 3 doses of St. Cloud. No!
Nick, that was one of your better rants.
Thank you.
And I was already on the fence.
Yeah, he's okay. Go back to the other episodes with him in it. I'm never very fond of him.
I mean, that's the thing. He gets
I
better,
love him.
though.
He gets so much better. By the
He
time
does.
season
He does
7
get
rolls
better.
around, he's great.
But
I
these
think
early
that they
episodes,
know what
my
to do with
God.
him at that point.
Well, yeah, it's kind of... I was going to say we talked about last time. No, we talked about last recording, so no one knows. But it's the idea of, like, they dumbed him down later on. Like, right now, he's, like, the antithesis of, like, all nerddom. Like, he is that nerd that we all know, that we all hate. Like, oh, you're a nerd who happens to be super rich and buys everything cool, where for me, I have my one cool thing, and I'm very proud of it. You have everything. And look, you just bought my one cool thing. Awesome. Like, I get it. Like, that is the character, but that's only good for so far. Like, you can't really take that. Like, there's not a lot of longevity. So, as they mature him, and they basically just kind of like, yeah, he's still that guy, but now he has to deal with following rules and trying to be an actual supervillain, and it's actually out of his wheelhouse. The more they humanize him, the better of a character he is.
That's true of any character, though, really.
I mean, I guess
Right, but I think
it depends on the situation revolving it. And I think in Venture Brothers, having like these super otherworldly characters who still have a human side is why we love them. And right now, we don't have a human side to him.
True.
Totally agree. Like, he's Superman before people really started to focus on Clark Kent, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he just doesn't have... He just is too strong in a weird way. Like, he's not too strong physically or through any power or anything. It's just that, like, what am I supposed to... You already summed it up really, really well. He just doesn't have a human side.
Yeah. And I don't think I was ever to put my finger on it until this third time watching it. And And I think that's why it's been kind of interesting. That's why I wanted to do this one a little differently. Of like, let's just be fucking on the nose about how many times we've had to sit through this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because I think to the average fan out there, they're probably like listening to this episode going, no, I actually kind of liked it. What are you guys so like up on it for? And it's,
right.
You'd really have to do what we did and just sit down and watch it 3 times in a row, essentially. And by the end of it, you're like, God, I fucking can't stand St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And like even like the joke that I never picked up on until this episode 3 times ago, where like Pete White, his arch side is PY, and I never ever picked up on Pete White PY. It's just the same thing.
Yep.
He
It's
just
just
made
a rare
racist
albino,
version.
a rare Asian albino.
Asian albino. Like he just took something, made it racist and awful, and then put it out in the world. It's like, yeah, that feels like St. Cloud. That tracks.
And it's even worse as well when he adds the line, "I'm collecting them now."
He's the worst. Like, how do you be worse than Pete White? You become August St. Cloud in season 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So the next thing I kind of want to move into in this episode, if we've kind of moved around and whatnot and talked about why it didn't really work for us and whatnot, we've kind of slightly scratched the surface of this, but I kind of want to dive into it. What would you change about this episode beyond just removing St. Cloud? Like, I think we're all kind of on the same page there. What else would you change? Because that's going to remove a solid 8-9 minutes out of the 22-minute episode. What would you put in to make this thing perfect?
I'd want to see more flashbacks to Jonas.
Yeah.
I loved those little flashbacks we got. I think this could be an episode where you learn more about Jonas as a person as well. It's like you have that opportunity there, and there's little things in there. Like when I was doing the research for it, they mentioned in the book that they'd done like a throwaway line earlier on that Colonel Gentleman had a threesome with Wally Schaefer and Gore Vidal, and at the time of Jackie Onassis' wedding, Wally was in space on one of the Apollo missions. So they brought up this idea of like, that would tie nicely in. Like if the Apollo mission's in danger, then Colonel Gentleman's got a personal stake on that, and it's literally one throwaway line where it goes, "Wally's up there," but you could have made more of that, and I think that would have been really interesting to like sort of flesh out those characters a little bit more, have a bit more of a flashback to what they were doing. I
was always on the side of either more Sergeant Hatred or swap out the guest on the island. Like, I liked either forcing the boys to go and having 2 very apathetic, or maybe 1 very apathetic with Dean, and 1 who used to be very apathetic, but now he's in his strength suit, so it's a fucking blast just beating the shit out of his dad in every single game, Hank, because that could have been a lot of fun.
That would have been excellent, actually.
Yeah.
I forgot about the strength suit. That would have been
he's
so
still
good.
in it at this point. That would have been awesome.
Yep.
His whole life getting his ass kicked by his dad because the whole festival's just for his dad, but now he shows up in the strength suit and, Hank wins everything.
Yeah, because then you have a much more interesting conflict between father and son, not father and friend's arch nemesis.
Which would also go back to the original creation of Spanakopita of shit between a father and son.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy shit.
Boom! Took 3 episodes to get there.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better.
Anyone got contact details for Doc Hammer?
Nick, what about you?
I think that the only thing, I would definitely do more Sergeant Hatred, and I would change the tone of the episode. So the Sergeant Hatred stuff would be closer to the faux Scooby-Doo episode they did.
Oh, sure.
Which is like much darker and bleaker until you kind of find out what it is, because you're seeing it through his eyes, and he's definitely thinking something sinister is going on, which is not really the case. And I think that if you contrast that with the fun that Rusty's having, it kind of is like, you actually start to feel more for Rusty. I think that that's the problem that we're all having to a certain extent with this episode, is that we're not really empathizing much with Rusty because he's getting pushed to the side. And I do think that it works because it's his vacation's being taken away from him. But I don't know, like to a certain extent, I'd like to know more about like what makes Rusty happy, because we get to see that so infrequently that I think it's okay.
Yeah, I could see that. That definitely makes sense.
I like the idea.
It would
of
be
like,
nice to give him a break from time to time.
Yeah,
Right?
I like the idea of having the tone on the Sergeant Hatred stuff darker as well, and then that contrasting thing of it being really light around Rusty. I think that would work quite well. I always like that. So when you have something that mixes the tone up and a little bit, where you got like one bit that's really comedic and funny, and then like another bit that's running the same episode that's really dark, and like then you had that colliding tone sort of thing, and then when it's done intentionally, not unintentionally, where they just don't know what they're doing. Yeah,
and I threw out like Shutter Island earlier as a joke, but I actually think that could be the right tone for the Sergeant Hatred stuff. Like the whole like lost on an island, don't know who's an enemy, who's a friend, all that. Like I think it would have worked.
Totally.
Yeah. The other thing we're not really mentioning is that it is, in a way, though not like violently sinister, it is still a sinister plot against the Ventures.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that everyone on Spanakopita does legitimately enjoy having Rusty there and enjoys Rusty, but that does not change the fact that they're still going to use him to take as much money from the Ventures as possible.
Absolutely.
And well deserved.
The goal is to make money first and make Rusty happy second.
Yes. But I don't think I never questioned for a second whether or not they want to make Rusty happy.
Totally.
But
it's a twofer, but it's just that one is more important than the other.
Yeah. Because it seems like that's how they fund the majority of their island. Once every year, Rusty shows up and just pays for fucking everything.
Yep.
And then this time they got the cream of the crop of August St. Cloud buying out the term Spanakopita for fucking nothing. He basically just bought the pastry. And way to go, dude.
Pastry
now they just have even more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there are good things in this episode. They even just still every time still cracks me up.
Yeah, I love the subtle things as well. Like it took me 3 times to watch it before I picked up on it, but in the pumice carving bit, where everyone's got the pumice carvings, there is a child, like a teenage boy who looks suspiciously like Brok, who was carved a pumice of Brok Sampson's head.
I definitely missed that all 3 times. That's pretty good.
It's so good. I think he's the one who actually, like, the older one who shows up as well with the no Brok bit.
Oh,
okay. It's that same kid, and he's there, and he's done a pumice carving of Brok Sampson.
God, you kind of feel bad for everyone Brok has left in his wake.
Yeah.
and by kind of, I mean, you should definitely feel bad.
But Brok's so nice.
Is he, though?
Well,
he's nice if you're on his side.
Yeah.
Oy.
As long as you don't hit him with a truck, you're fine.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're ready to move on to favorite characters. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, so favorite character of the episode. I think the first 2 times we recorded, I said St. Cloud.
Yes,
will not
you did.
Be saying that this time.
I was waiting to see who you were going to say, actually.
Not St. Cloud this time. Honestly, I'm going back to Sergeant Hatred. The more I've watched it, the more I've enjoyed his sequence, and I'm like, nope, he is the best part of this episode. And I say that begrudgingly because I should be saying Rusty right now, but he didn't have enough to do.
In his own episode.
In his own episode. Matt, what about you?
Well, I was going to say Sergeant Hatred as well, but I feel like I should say someone different because, that'd be boring if I said the same thing. So I'm going to go with... I kind of going to go with Billy. Cause Billy's
his dream sequence is great, yeah.
Yeah, the dream sequence is fantastic. There's some really nice little moments as well there, like where him and White are on St. Cloud's boat, like the interaction with the props there, and the whole they're digging in the wrong place sort of thing.
And Billy is there for the I'm not sure which movie it's supposed to be, but I always like to think of Interview with the Vampire, like that whole like death sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. You sort of see that dedication to him. Where he's like, "Stay with me, White," and it's like and he carries him across the desert, and then wins at the end. That's one question I do have as well. they made the bet that they would beat St. Cloud, and St. Cloud would give Rusty $1 million. Now, did Rusty get the $1 million, or was it just null and void because Billy won?
Billy won.
But Billy and Rusty were kind of on the same side.
Well, they're on the same moral side, but they're still individual competitors. So I think
Right.
Rusty had to win to get the $1 million.
That was one of the things that was never unclear to me.
Yeah.
What actually happened around that $1 million, because they don't ever mention it. It's not like he didn't say, well, you didn't win because of blah blah blah, or he's not like, where's my money, or anything like that. They just sort of ignored it and didn't reference it at all.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That one doesn't really bother me though.
Yeah.
That's one of those just circumstance, whatever.
That bothered me on view 3. I was like, hang on a minute, what about $1 million?
That much I understand. Nick, favorite character?
Oh, my favorite character is still the same as every other time. I love Pete White's outfit. The white cardinal-like outfit is so funny. Every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, right, that's the episode this is in. Even though I've watched this 3 times, it still surprised me, and I still loved it.
It's the way he comes off the plane as well. It's like he's lost.
Oh yeah, lost and just it's just, I don't know why, but I find it so funny because I just imagine him trying to find the perfect outfit because he's already been suckered into doing this, and he's like, how am I going to protect myself? Yes, a long flowy white robe with a gigantic white hat.
And sunblock all over my face.
Yes.
I also love during the whole death scene when the sunlight just touches him and it lights on fire.
Yeah, and it lights his whole side of his face on fire.
Good shit. Okay, I think we did it. Time will tell, of course. If tomorrow, as in today, you're listening to this, we did it.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
I'm just hoping. So there's gonna be a big hooray at the end of the episode if this thing is done and it's going up, and just don't question where the hooray come from. Let's do a quick round of plugs. Be sure to listen After the Hype every Thursday. Be sure to listen to us on Monday, and then Samwise on Tuesday, or Demon Days on Tuesdays, because I still don't remember which ones those come out on. And then be sure to listen to Damage Boost on Fridays. Read our articles on athpod.com, and be sure to watch Superstore for my wife starting here in a few weeks. And that's it for me. Nick, Matt, anything you plugging?
No.
I'm always plugging articles and things like that. Last time we recorded this, I did plug the After the Hype episodes that I was on, but now they're out, and so, don't get to plug them.
You can still listen to them. They're both very good episodes.
That's true, yeah. The Die Hard one's
a
fantastic. The Tarantino battle one's fantastic. That was a
just
lot of fun to record.
Yeah, both those episodes turned out really well. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, read my articles. The last one that came out was about the Wild Bunch, which is 50 years old, and basically killed the Western genre.
Hey, we've had some good ones since.
Yeah, some. That's the point of the article. It went from 90% of films being Westerns to 1% of films being Westerns.
So what's going to be the comic movie to do that now?
Not sure.
It wasn't Endgame. I have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah, it will happen, though. There's going to be something that will just end that genre. It happens all the time, though.
Oh, yeah.
It comes round and round, and the Western one's just been one it's never got back up to the popularity that it was.
I don't think it ever will, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's everything. So thank you very much for listening. Tune in next week when we talk about OS I Love You. And bye.
Bye.